Hi, this is Ms. Miseraco, and this is the science information for October 1st, 2nd, and October 5th for 7th grade. Today our agenda looked like this. We would go over any questions students had about their projects. We'll go over yesterday. Today we will talk about bias and rerun, and we'll preview what students should be working on for Friday and Monday. Yesterday, students were setting up their outdoor inquiry projects. You should have a hypothesis written, a list of materials, a procedure you want to follow, and you should have actually set up your experiments. There were kids in both hours that didn't have it set up yet, but you definitely want to have it set up by Friday. So definitely shoot for Friday as a day of having your experiment set up. And then based on your experiment, will you need to go and collect your data 24 hours later, 48 hours later, or 72 hours later. You should write the question you're investigating. Perhaps you're wondering, is there a difference between locations on the number of specimens I'll collect using a pan trap? Write your hypothesis as an if-then statement. If I put a pan trap under the bush and by our path, then I expect to find more organisms by the bush, something like that. Then again, you're listing your materials and writing your procedure, and most importantly, you're setting up your experiment. Today, we're talking about the end of your experiment and making sure kids are aware of bias and faulty reasoning, and then a nice strategy to use when you're writing your conclusion, rerun. The difference between bias and faulty reasoning is as follows. Bias is when you base conclusions on opinion rather than information. Faulty reasoning is when the conclusion is not supported by your data. You can have two kinds of faulty reasonings. You could overgeneralize things where you have too little data, or you could have an illogical conclusion that isn't supported by your data at all. In the breakout rooms, students were going to look at this question together and see what they thought. American beauty rose bushes cannot survive long, harsh winters because in my garden, 2 American beauty roses bushes died over a long, harsh winter. Stop now and see what you think. I think it's an example of faulty reasoning because there's not much data. A great strategy to use when you're writing a conclusion is a rerun. Rerun stands for recall, explain, results, uncertainty, and new. So as you're writing a very complete conclusion, you want to recall. What was your question that you were investigating? Explain what you did during the lab. What were your results? Write your results in sentence form, and how did it compare to your hypothesis? Uncertainty. Was there any things that you couldn't control or errors that happened? How did it affect your results? And then N stands for new. What are 2 new questions or things you're curious about for your next experiment? Rerun, a great strategy to use when writing conclusions. On Friday, students will go to this website, which is a national park website. You'll pick an activity that you're interested in a state you're either curious of visiting or have plans to visit or anything. And you'll get matched with a national park. My example is shown. I matched with Agate Fossil Beds National Monument. I've never been there before. You want to take a screenshot of this and then share it in the discussion along with why you picked the one you did. And I said I selected Agate Fossil Beds National Monument in Nebraska because I love geology and looking for fossils. Isn't the geologic structures that are shown in the picture quite interesting? I was very interested in this national park. Monday, it's another independent workday, and again, it's all about this inquiry project. You want to make sure that you're working on your project because this will be counting as a test grade for 7th grade science. If you haven't done so already, you'll want to collect your data, you'll want to take pictures of it, you'll want to organize it some way. And again, I will be on Zoom from about 1:55 to 3:30 to answer any questions that you might have. I hope you found this video to be helpful. If you have any questions, please email or jump on that Zoom on Monday from 1:55 to 3:30.